So we wanted to have one of our favorite YouTubers here with us today, but only Bruce was available.
Yeah, I'm not the prettiest.
But we want to thank you for being here. That's awesome. So I do want to clarify something for my audience, which is probably, we have some maybe similarities in our audiences because you're technically a big rig guy.
Yep.
And there's most of our audience also. You're now is Bruce is that your like Bruce? How do you go to market?
Bruce Wilson.
Bruce Wilson. Okay, now, is that like your real name or is that your stage name?
No, that's my real
It's
name.
like Dirk Digger or anything like that. It's like that's your real name.
God given.
All right, that's cool. All right, welcome. All right, sounds good. So what we want to do is like tell some people like what you're all about. For everybody's information out there, this is Bruce's first podcast. We're honored to have somebody here the first time around.
Yep.
So we're gonna break him in real hard, show him what podcast life is all about. So we're gonna start off with like tell us about yourself a little bit. Like what's your game? Like what do you do?
Well, I buy and sell farm equipment for a living, and then make YouTube videos for fun, kind of a hobby. And it's pretty straightforward.
So what is this a chicken or the egg type of thing? What came first, the farm equipment or the clips?
Definitely the farm equipment. Grew up in it. It's all I've ever known. Father
did it for his whole life, that kind of thing, or was involved in it?
Yeah, father had a tractor dealership, started in the early 90s, and he retired, and I kind of started my own gig dealing in farm equipment.
Oh, all right, cool, sounds good. So like tell us what that's all about, like giving away like trade secrets so that we end up being your competitor. Like what's the day in the life of farm equipment? Is it a dealer? Is that what you would call yourself?
Yeah,
okay.
Basically just hustling every day as hard as possible. Living on Facebook Marketplace, finding used equipment. I don't sell new stuff just because there's not enough profit margin in dealing with new equipment and dealing with manufacturers telling me what I can and can't do and how I can market the product. So by that, I can deal in used equipment and have a much larger profit margin and do whatever I want to do and say whatever I want to say.
And then sell it to whoever you want to sell.
Exactly.
So you're saying the new equipment manufacturers actually can tell you what you can and can't do with the equipment? Is that
100%. They can tell you who you can and can't sell to, what regions you can sell to. Right now, I sell used equipment all over the world, literally all over the world.
So if you're a new equipment dealer and you bought something, they might tell you don't sell it to Europe or don't sell it to South America or something like that.
Yeah, they will literally tell you can't sell it 3 or 4 counties down the road because that's another dealer's area.
Oh,
even if you offer better customer service. So
I got you. I dig as a company that of course has dealers and we respect and love our dealers. That's at some point there's got to be some creeping Americana in there, letting let the marketplace decide what the marketplace wants to do. And I'm a big fan of that, by the way.
Capitalism.
Yeah, totally. Because like you may have a dealer 2 or 3 counties away, but I mean if they're not giving the type of service, for example, that you can give, that really is at the end of the day is it's like the customer or the consumer is the one that ends up really paying for that one way or the other. All right, so used farm equipment, and you're hustling looking for stuff all, is it just local or just all over the country?
All over the country, literally. If I can find something and make a load out of it with my semi-truck. So if I can buy 5 or 6 tractors in it, say Indiana, I'm from Florida, so you're talking 1,000 miles away, then if I can buy 6 of them at a time at a good deal, then I'll make the trip, and that's where YouTube comes into play.
Gotcha. Okay, so before we get to the YouTube, obviously in this environment, we're so closely tied to vehicles, whether they're big rigs or just regular street cars. Obviously, the demand has way outstripped supply in used vehicles, and that's caused those prices to escalate really.
Exactly.
Are you sensing the same thing in the used
100%.
equipment?
It's definitely transitioned to the farm equipment market and construction equipment. The biggest thing is you can't get new equipment right now, so it's making used equipment go through the roof.
Right.
Now we're selling some of the equipment. My dad sold tractors new, for 20 years. And some of his old customers, I'm literally paying them what they paid for this 20-year-old machine, what they paid for it brand new.
Unbelievable.
And selling it for more money than they even paid for it brand new.
That's almost like a classic car type setup, like a muscle car or something like that.
Just because new stuff's so hard to get, and just used equipment is sometimes more reliable because there's no emission equipment on it.
Is emissions a big deal? Is that really kind of like one of the game changers for you out
people
there?
that don't know how to use their equipment and follow instructions, yes.
Yeah, I dig it. I dig it. So again, without giving away the trade secret or anything like that, is it just you know, before I ask my question, I want to tell the audience like, so Bruce came in. We're filming this on a Wednesday morning, and Bruce came in on a Monday morning. So basically, he's been here like 2 days essentially. And man, I gotta tell you, this guy is just like, he is just nonstop hustle. It's like, phone call after phone call and text, and and I think that's probably one of the things that I admire about what you do. Is, I mean, it's like there are a lot of people that can talk it and say, I do this, or I want to do this, or I can do this, but at the end of the day, it's like when it comes down to the actual process of hustling, that really is kind of what defines, that brings you up, above that level of mediocrity. There's just a lot of mediocrity out there.
A lot of bullshit.
Yeah,
a lot of people that are just full of shit.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that like want to talk the talk, but when it comes down to it, whether you are buying farm equipment, in your world, for example, whether you're buying farm equipment, or you are committing your resources to creating media, whether it's in support of your farm equipment or just in support of like, it's like monetizing hobby, if you want to call it that. But I don't think a lot of people really understand the kind of hustles required in this environment anymore to really be successful. I mean, there's just a lot of people that just get by because they can get by, as opposed to, and then complain. It's like, oh, why does Bruce have this, and why does Bruce have that, and why does Bruce do this? Because you get up in the morning and you hustle.
It's the devotion, the what's the word for it? The sacrifices.
The sacrifice and the commitment. Yeah.
Yeah. My wife was just messaging me how much she misses me because I've been traveling a lot lately. Yeah, she's went with me on a few trips, but I'm gone a lot. Like at this point, I've been away for half the time I've been home. So, which is a lot.
Is that recent? Like you've been doing more traveling recently?
I've been doing a lot of traveling the last 3 months.
And what's brought that on? Is that mostly
just the equipment business has been booming, and YouTube has been driving the business and making new relationships, like with you guys and a few others.
Right. Yeah, we actually bumped into Bruce. Went to the Mid-America Trucking Show a couple of months ago, where we actually met him. That was your first Mats, right?
I was away from home for 7 days on that trip.
Yep, that's a long trip. Yeah, same thing with me. Basically, I left. I think it was Monday morning, and I didn't get home till Sunday. So it was almost a whole week. That's a pretty big involved show. That one and probably SEMA are the two two big monsters at the beginning and end of the year. But tell us about your Mats experience. What did you expect going into that, and what did you actually find out?
Mats was a blast. I thought it was just going to be like a truck show. Like that was my idea of it. Didn't really look into it. It was the truck show to go to when everyone told me. And my friend Bill Rethwich was unveiling his truck there that him and Semi Casual had built.
Right. We want to give a shout out to Peter Williams for cleaning that out. There's your plug, Peter.
Yeah.
Almost chrome.
Yeah, almost. And so, going up there with them, I had about 30 minutes of putting my hands on that truck, helping him work on it. Nothing crazy, but wanted to go up there and see it done and see all the other trucks that he had to compete against. And it was just a lot bigger show than I thought it'd be. I didn't know it'd be like a...
You thought it'd be more like a parking lot show or a chrome shop show or something?
I didn't know.
Like the 75 show that you went to, you thought it'd be more like that?
I didn't realize it was going to be like a full...
Yeah, it's a full trade
convention.
Show. Yeah, totally. So getting back to when you went up to Semi-Casual to Fitzgerald, is that where you actually met Peter? Is that where you first met Peter? Or is it... Because I felt you knew Peter before you even got to Mats.
Oh, yeah. I've met Peter several times. He polished some tanks on my old cab over several years ago.
Oh, all right. Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, I met Peter a few years ago.
All right, awesome. Sounds good. So you went up and you actually saw Billy's vehicle being put together
from the start to finish. Yeah.
And then you came up to Mats from Florida, and you actually saw it there. In competition. That must have been a good experience too.
It was a blast, and I actually had bought a tractor from a customer in Indiana, and he delivered it to Mats.
And, you picked it up at Mats?
Yeah, he actually brought it to the parking lot at Mats and put it on my trailer.
Oh, no way. So you drove up to Mats?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I drove up there and then picked up a full load of equipment on the way home. So
outstanding.
It's like whenever I go up to do, other than obviously flying out here, whenever I go anywhere for a YouTube, if I'm going to go somewhere for a YouTube video, I try to make it
Good 2 for 1 at least, huh?
Exactly. Like if I'm going to drive my semi 1,000 miles or 800 miles somewhere
for sure.
for something video related, I'm going to carry my trailer with me and load it down with equipment to make money on the way home.
How problematic is the fuel prices for you these days?
I would say it's a pretty big expense. I wasn't really doing any kind of major hauling with semis until this year, and obviously that's when the prices of fuel shot up. So all I've ever known is $1,500 to fill up my truck lately. And I just was reading somewhere on Facebook this morning. It could be fake. It's probably real that fuel prices are expected to hit like $10.
Yeah, I read that also just this morning. That's like it's going to get close to double, and I don't understand why. Because I remember in the 2000s, was it 14, 15? I can't remember exactly when oil peaked at 150 a barrel. We didn't have these prices back then, so like I'm just trying to figure out like what's
the fuel taxes. So we get fuel delivered to my shop in the drum, and fuel is on average $1.50 cheaper before tax.
Unbelievable.
So right now I just had some delivered today. I got an email this morning, and we're paying $6 a gallon for it in Florida, and it's only $4.50 before taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever, whether it be federal or state, are tacking on $1.50 per gallon.
They're making their money back somehow, definitely,
which is insane.
So getting back to Matt, so there were 3 components to Matt's. One, of course, the beauty pageant, the PKY.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how much time do you spend out there looking at all those incredible machines?
A little bit, very minimum, because it was freezing cold.
It was just too freaking cold.
It was very cold, and the wind was terrible, so it makes it hard to film.
Yeah, we sponsor. We look forward to sponsoring PKY. It's a great opportunity for people to show the incredible equipment. An opportunity for us to engage, of course, with the drivers, the truck owners. And of course, we go to Matt's definitely to showcase our brand, but also we're big on the media, as you know.
Oh, for sure.
For us to try to capture some of that media along with some of the truckers and the trucks out there, it was very challenging. Like you said, it was cold, it was windy. Most of like half the time with Matt's it's that way, and half the time it's just a nice, beautiful spring day.
Mm-hmm.
We just happened to catch it this time.
When it was cold.
Cold a couple of years ago. I forgot, was it 18? I think it was 2018.
I heard it snowed or something?
Yeah, like 6 inches of snow, or like, I tried to
go
outside.
That would have been cool. That would have been cool, I think.
I went outside a couple of times. It's like, like I'm coming from California, so it's like I don't even go up to the local mountains when it's snowing.
Yeah.
So I don't really have any like snow boots, or I don't have any. Like, it was like going around
waterproof shoes.
Yeah, I was walking around in my tennis shoes outside, and like basically,
soaking wet.
4 inches of Slurpee, and it was a pain, definitely. So the second part of it, I'm going to switch to the other side of it, was the NAST show, the NAST trucking, which is kind of one of the OG truck shows. NAST standing for the National Association of Truck Shows. Our boy Jason is rebooting that whole thing. I think you might be going up to Onaway for that show, possibly.
Brian from Fitzgerald and I are from
so you're going to be up there. So track down Jason. Hopefully he'll be a good host for you. I'm sure he will. That's a great environment to take a look at. The second leg of that tour. Mm-hmm. There'll be St. Ignace later in the year, and they'll end it up at the Lufkin. I think it's called Dragon and Pulling on the Pines, just north of Houston, the week before SEMA. So NAST, getting back to NAST real quick. All right, so you'll be up in Onaway. Hopefully you will get a chance to participate in some of that with Jason, and hopefully we'll see that tour come to life even greater next year. Hopefully we're going to expand it beyond that.
Yeah, for sure, especially with my new truck and getting it up there. It's not 100% show ready, but it's half. Like, we've done from the sleeper forward on the truck, so we've still got to do fenders and deck plate and things like that.
Great. So you're going to drive that up to Onaway, basically?
Planning on it, yeah. Brian wants to get some more seat time driving a semi-truck, so obviously they work and sell them, but he doesn't drive them. He just kind of just builds them and manages all that stuff, so Brian wants to get some more seat time, so what better time to drive it from Tennessee to Canada almost.
Yeah, no, totally, that's for sure. Tell us about how much of the trade show did you actually get a chance to see? I know you were kind enough to spend quite a bit of time at our booth, actually, at Matt's. You're almost like, we should have just put a T-shirt on you at some point.
A lot of time. I well, I had brought my little scooter. A
That's
lot of
right,
people were
that's
very
right,
envious
yeah.
of my little electric
Uh-huh.
scooter I was riding around on. So I seen pretty much every inch of the place. I mean,
Yeah.
that's one thing I like going to these shows like that and not having to be obligated to be selling merchandise or something like that, because
Right.
then I can just do what I want to
You
do
can just free range and
and
do your
just
media and capture whatever you
exactly
want. Yeah.
that. And like even like
Uh-huh.
taking my wife to stuff,
Uh-huh.
like I love
So
taking
your
her.
wife wasn't there, was she then?
No, she
Oh,
wasn't.
okay.
Like I love taking her places with me, but then it's
Maybe,
like
maybe next
I've got
year.
to keep her in mind, with
Yeah.
what she wants to do and cater to other people. It's just nice when I can go to shows like that and
And just do your
just go
thing.
get all the good
Yeah.
ideas and see everything going
How
on.
was the media out of that? I know that we're going to transition a little bit into talking a bit more about your YouTube channel and all the fun media you like try to capture. But like, tell us. By the way, if you need to cut for
No,
a
no,
call
you're good. You're
because the
good.
president's calling. Just
If
don't
it's
worry about
important,
it.
they can leave a voicemail.
Tell us like what was the what was the media value of Matt's to you? Like, what did you accomplish? What you hoped to do at that show?
Yeah, it was just to experience it was the biggest thing, just to go because I'd never been. I did make some new relationships with some companies while I was there, which worked out
That's the
good.
name of the game. Yeah.
That is definitely the place to go do that.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of show your value to companies. I feel like next year I'll have a nice truck there,
Mm-hmm.
and that could really bring some value to the table.
You gonna enter into competition next
Oh,
year?
for sure.
All right,
Definitely.
awesome. That's great.
Yeah, definitely. I'll have my truck now finished, and I've actually haven't really told anyone that I've ordered a new truck.
Oh, here it is.
So
There's the reveal. All right, good. When's that one going to be delivered?
another new truck, hopefully January, end of January. So once the new truck gets here, it'll be like crunch time to get it done for Matt's because I plan on having both of them there, truck, trailer, and the other
Are you
truck.
going to
on
do
the
any customization on them? Or?
trailer. Oh, for sure, definitely.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah,
gonna...
full build with semi-casual.
All right, cool. Well, great. We'll love to see those up there. That's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, it'll be a blast.
All right. So you are like I was introduced to Bruce basically, at Matt's as like I didn't know he was a farm equipment dealer. Just basically, that's just maybe that's just your normal life. Maybe. But
Yeah.
the I was introduced to Bruce essentially like this is a somebody within our world that is involved in social media essentially, and most of your social media revolves around YouTube. Like what is it like? What's your like? Do you have a theme for your YouTube? What's your YouTube about?
It's kind of like a day in the life, basically. I mean, I like working on stuff. I like tractors, just whatever. I mean, it's just diesel-oriented stuff. I used to be in the hot rod diesel scene, the sled pulling, tractor pulling, truck pulling, stuff like that, and kind of got away from it because I lived in Florida and all that kind of competition's based not in Florida.
Sure, I could see that.
And then I got away from that. That was in 13 and 14. I pulled with Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League.
Hey, so before that, so like, did you live somewhere else other than Florida before?
Florida, born and raised, yeah.
So you were just like up and down, basically the country.
Every weekend I was out of state sled pulling, and
Oh, no kidding.
I had a lot of really good sponsors back then, so they covered a lot of costs, and I was traveling a lot.
Back in your single days, I would assume.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. I just got tired of traveling, and then
Yeah, I
I
dig it.
transitioned to drag racing, and then there's a lot of drag racing in Florida. Not really diesel drag racing, but a lot more. I could load the truck up and go have fun for the weekend and be home, an hour later,
Right.
rather than have a sled pulling truck that you could only hook to a pulling sled, and that is it. And he had to travel out of state for that. And I started my YouTube channel back when I was drag racing
So it was how
in
long?
like 2015.
Okay, that's a while back then.
Yeah, Cletus McFarlane, a good friend of mine, is at the time he had around 600,000 subscribers. Now he's over 3 million. I actually worked on his diesel pickup when I had a shop back then, and he's one that's like, hey, you need to start a YouTube channel. You got lots of content here. That's when I kind of started there, and he helped me get up and going a little bit, and that's how I started YouTube way back then.
So your YouTube, like you called it a day in the life. Does that mean like if people are seeing your YouTube, is it like a Kardashian style day in the life, or like you're arguing about somebody over a purchase order, or?
I mean, I don't really show like the hard stuff. I mean, I guess say hard times, but like the frustrations I go through on a daily basis. But it's kind of like what we're doing, what we're picking up, what we've sold. Stuff from the dealer, and then the videos that really do big are like the semi truck related stuff, or Our Will It Start videos where we find old abandoned equipment and
Yeah.
start those up.
Tell us about that. Will It Start video? Like what? How'd you come up with that idea?
So the Will It Start stuff is actually how I got into the big rig scene. I originally just made content on diesel pickups, like high performance Dodge diesel trucks, drag racing, just off the wall diesel pickup stuff, never big trucks. So my original followers, which were about 150,000 on YouTube, were all strictly automotive enthusiasts. And there's still some of them out there. And that was back 4 or 5 years ago, And then I decided, like, early 2019-ish, I wanted to start a video series called Will It Start? And that was based around finding an old piece of abandoned equipment, whether it be a tractor or a truck or a semi or whatever it may be with a diesel engine, and seeing if it'll start after it had been grown into the ground. And I started that with tractors. I think my original Will It Start video has over 1 million views on it, and that was from early 19. And then the one that really took off and brought me to 500,000 subscribers on YouTube was I found an abandoned semi in a field. Actually, a friend of mine had one of his friends that's wanting to get rid of it. He's like, hey, he wants to get rid of this truck. So I went over there and looked at it, bought it, and I was like, well, I'm going to try to start it up and put it on my trailer and take it home. So I filmed the whole thing, and now that video has almost 10 million views on it.
Unbelievable. So you are...
And that was a big rig.
So is your channel more diesel-centric?
It's always been diesel-centric, but now it's more heavy-duty semi-truck kind of stuff.
Okay, so talk to the audience a little bit, because there are many aspiring YouTubers out there, obviously, including ourselves with our 6.7 thousand followers.
Mm-hmm.
Did you lose audience when you made that? I mean, it almost seems like it's a transition to me from like what you were to what you are now. Is it a transition? Am I reading that correctly?
As far as like from the automotive to the heavy duty,
right? Yeah,
I wouldn't say I lost an audience. I mean,
I'm just wondering if there's a pitfall in that, like, there's always that, that social media, like, it's almost like a biblical type of thing, and I don't believe it. Not that I don't believe in the Bible, but I was like,
yeah,
it's almost like, find your audience and stick to it. And I'm not really a believer in that, almost because I can't be a believer in that, because we do, like, we're in lowriders, and we're in big rigs, and we're desert racing, and we're in lifted trucks, and we're doing some classic stuff. So it's like we can't really be all just one thing to one person.
I believe that if you were going to transition to a new audience, you need to hit it running and be unique. So there's a lot of YouTubers that are out there that are trying to cross over from one particular audience, which the automotive industry is very small in the grand aspect.
Really? Is that right?
If you sit back and look at the performance end of it, where people want to see everybody drives a car, obviously, but most people don't watch car videos on YouTube.
Right.
Let's be real. And even semi stuff, even though I may be gathering 100,000, 200,000 views on video,
that's a much smaller niche, basically.
It's an extremely small audience compared to the grand aspect of, say, people involved in clothing, your everyday aspects of life, comedy
cosmetics,
videos.
maybe, or something like that.
Yeah,
there's a lot of that stuff out there, definitely.
A really good friend of mine, Whistling Diesel, everybody knows who he is.
Sure.
Is in the truck scene, right? Makes truck videos, whatever. He's getting several million views, which is a lot for the automotive industry. He did a video a few months ago, and he hit the gold mine on how to cross over from the automotive scene to the fashion scene, where he bought literally a $12,000 pair of Dior shoes.
I saw that, yeah.
Which is insane.
With your Nikes, right? Is that what I'm thinking?
Your Nike Air or something like that. I didn't know what Dior was. And so now he's crossed over to the fashion scene, where he has obviously basically destroyed the shoes. But so now he has all these people that are into fashion watching his videos, going to see if he's going to do anything destructive with...
You're going to buy his Louis Vuitton jacket or something like that.
Exactly. So now you're talking about, find your audience, stick with it. Well, this man has now found an entire other audience, a whole new audience, and he has really capitalized on that, because now he has automotive viewers.
Right.
And
so you're looking at
viewers.
So you're looking at it basically as two building blocks of the structure. In other words, so
everybody together.
All right. So if I'm a fashion guy and I'm into the designer brand names, and I see Whistling blow up another vehicle, is that going to appeal to me?
Maybe not, but when he does post a video about fashion related, you're going to watch it.
So is it trying to? I'm just like, for the audience out there, and including ourselves, obviously, it's like, okay, so is going back to Whistling. Is the best of both worlds having Whistling blow up a vehicle in his Nikes and his LV jacket? Does that or is that too much going on?
I don't know if it'd be too much going on. It's just, I really don't know the answer to that. I mean,
Do you see it happening?
Like sometimes I wake up and I don't want to make a video related to semis. You know, because it gets exhausting sometimes doing the same style video over and over and over again. If he can wake up one day and make a video truck related, and I mean, videos cost us money. They're not free to make videos. Like, we
For sure
invest money, so
time
his
and
videos
money.
are obviously very expensive if he's destroying something. So figure if he wakes up one day and spends $20,000 on a truck and just destroys it in one video, he could wake up the next day and spend $5,000 on a designer bag and destroy it, and he's much less in the hole.
Right. So
this one video.
Do you see Bruce Wilson taking his wife's Louis Vuitton
No.
wallet and running over it or something like that with a tractor?
I just don't have the audience there, I think, to push that and make it work like he does. You know, my crossover now is just, I don't really know. Like, mine is semi trucks, building and playing with them, doing whatever I do with them, pretending.
So you're thinking on the semi truck end of it, you're still on the upward curve of gaining momentum. So it's not like you're like at peak truck.
Stagnant, no.
Yeah,
by no means.
There's still more stuff you can do within that world that's interesting and appealing and imaginative for the audience.
Yeah, I've got a really big series going to be releasing in January. Nothing's being spoke of it yet, but I'm pretty pumped about that. I'm working up to it, so I think that's really going to be what takes me to, well over 1 million subscribers, maybe more, in 2023. So that's what I'm really looking forward to next year, to really change the curve of where I'm at now. I mean, it's a slow increase right now. I mean, everything's going up. The views are going up each month, subscribers going up every month, obviously.
Right. And that's not discouraging, because I think that's where a lot of people on social media become discourhed. I'm just not growing fast enough. I didn't get enough likes on, like, why did I get, 5,000 likes on this one and only 200 likes on that one? I think the whole nature of social media is it becomes for the creator almost like creates an anxiety issue.
I mean, it definitely does. I mean, I wouldn't say I get depressed, but it's definitely a little upsetting when, videos. I mean, there's definitely some videos that I've posted. I'm like, I spent a lot of time on this. Yeah. I know this is going to do good, and it completely tanks.
It just doesn't do what you want it to do.
It's just part of it. Then there's other videos where I'm like, I literally film the video in an hour, post it in the next hour. So I've got 2 hours of my time in one video, and it does. I'm like, I don't think anything of it, and it does exceptionally well.
So what's the advice to the people out there in the YouTube world that are trying to build their channels? Just basically keep creating content and putting it up?
Consistency. And the best thing I can tell you, I can't even remember who told me this. It might have been Cletus, or his name's Garrett, but...
So he does have a stage name.
Yeah, Cletus McFarland is his stage name, yeah. And his real name's Garrett Mitchell. So I want to say, like, the best piece of advice I can give you is go out, film videos, post them consistently. And if you aren't proud enough or happy enough with your video that you would want to sit your entire friends and family down and watch it together in one room and not be embarrassed or be upset about it, then don't post it.
Yeah, I think consistency is definitely the key. And that's the thing I try to, we've got people that either collaborate with us or want to collaborate with us, want to be sponsored, if that's a big word in our scene, of course. And I'll look at the DMs that come across us sometimes, especially on Instagram, because that's where we spend a lot of our time on Instagram, and now increasingly with Jordan running the TikTok, there's a lot more activity from us on TikTok. But we'll get a lot of those, hey, we want to work with you type of DMs. And my thing I'll always look at is like, well, I can't do the job for you. If you don't want to wake up every day and understand that I have to post at least once, and preferably 2 to 3 times. I'm talking Instagram now, and TikTok is even per day.
It's 2 to 3 times a day on all platforms.
TikTok is even more, honestly, for you to really have real traction on TikTok. That's a very, very possessive environment. It's like they want you to stay on there like as long as possible, and so they're going to reward those creators that are on there 4, 5, 6 times more than they're going to reward the creator that's on there once every couple 3 days or something like that. And that's the thing. It's like, I can't make you do it. I'm not going to do your job if you're not inclined to get up and create that content and publish it. Then you're just not going to really be a big factor in the social media world. And my feeling on that is like, exactly what you said earlier. It's like you just have to be consistent, because if you may have 9 pieces of content that's just totally bombs or is mediocre or whatever it is, and that 10th one may be the home run, but you'll never get to number 10 if you haven't done the 9 before it.
For example, like the Will It Start stuff, I don't do those videos every week or every other week. That's like I would say it's not very often I post a Will It Start video. And for example, I posted one about 2.5 weeks ago, and it's cresting almost 1 million views. My average views per video are around 120 to 170,000. Mm-hmm. It's just the one video that I know does good. I take my time, plan it, and try to make it as original as possible. And I know for a fact those videos do good every single time, but I don't flood my channel with the same Will It Start videos every single day.
It's not another semi that's sitting here. It's something else.
It's always something different. And there's a lot of creators out there trying to do Will It Start videos now. I don't like using the word copy because there's plenty of viewers out there for all of us to have and things like that. But there's a lot of people that go out and they'll do a Will It Start video, but they title it Will It Start, but they don't even try to make it start. They don't actually succeed in getting it started. Like, I won't post a video unless
you're successful, huh?
Unless we're either successful or we're almost close to being successful. Like, if we go out there and just look at it and say, well, we're probably not going to, I'm not even going to film that because it doesn't fit the bill. It doesn't fit
it's
the title.
terminal. It's just not going to happen, huh?
Yeah, well, it just doesn't fit the title. I want to be as original as possible, and my viewers know when they click on a Will It Start video, it's going to be interesting. They're going to watch it till the end.
It's going to be a unique piece of media.
Exactly.
Hey, so like, how hard is it to find something like that? I mean, it's like, is there stuff all over the country?
Well, being in the equipment business, it's not very hard for me because I see it all the time. I get people email me things like that.
Hey Bruce, I got a good one for you here. Come check it out.
Yeah, I try to keep it local because we do have like a truck full of stuff we carry with us to just ensure we have all of our tools to make it happen.
Sure. Yeah.
I've got a few unique items on my list right now I want to try to start, so I'm trying to find them. I don't really want to reveal them, but just know that when we do find them, it's going to be very different. No one's done it before.
That's cool. I'm going to ask you like about another topic, and if you're like, hey, like I don't really want to talk about it, we can just skip it. Somebody will just edit out this section of it. All right. So some of you may or may not know, actually, Bruce is a pilot. Almost a pilot.
Maybe.
So what has compelled you to be a pilot? It's like, I would have thought like a land lover like you would stick to your diesel and your dragon, and like all of a sudden here you are at 20,000 feet. Like, what's the story?
12,000 feet.
12,000 feet.
That's the max. Well, I've always been into airplanes. I fly model airplanes. My other business that I'm owner of, my brother and I are co-owners. We have a hobby shop in the same building that we have the equipment business. We sell radio control cars, airplanes, helicopters, and we build them too. It's kind of
so you build all the RCs and
it's my brother's runs it. I'm kind of like the background guy, just helping him get it off the ground so he can have his own business. But I've always been into radio control, whether it be airplanes or cars, things like that. So I've always loved airplanes. My grandfather had his pilot's license, and he was into airplanes. So yeah, I've always wanted to fly. I've always loved flying.
So you told me that you're like on the, like, so you're like, is it that you're on the verge of getting your license?
I have my student pilot's license. I started actually 2 years ago. September will be 2 years. And I started very ambitious, and then my business took off. And getting your pilot's license, you can either dedicate like a solid 2 months of your life and just get it done, your private pilot.
Yeah.
Or you can spread it out, and it's hard because getting the hours in to get it completed. If you dedicate 2 months, it's not very hard. But
meaning like time in the air, essentially.
Time in the air. So minimum hours required to get your pilot's license are 40 flight hours.
Well, that doesn't sound like a lot.
It doesn't, but whenever you have to, for me, it's like it takes you, by the time you stop what you're doing, drive to the airport,
Gotcha.
get the airplane out, meet with your instructor, put it away, and everything. It's like 3 hours out of your day. So now your 40 hours is turned into 120 hours of time.
And for a
And
small,
that doesn't
for a
include-
small business person, that's just
That's
a
a
lot.
lot.
Yeah.
And then you have your studying. That's just flight hours. And you've got a lot of studying you've got to do. You've got a written test, which is only just on the books. Then you've got a flight test you still have to do. And then you've got ground instruction, where your instructor has to give you 20 hours of time teaching you about what to do and what not to do.
Well,
So there's a lot of time that goes into it other than just the 40 hours of flight school. So right now, in the last year and a half, I've got all of my required hours in. I've took the written exam. You have to score 70 or better to pass. I scored
Did you pass?
87.
Well, I'll check you out. B+. You can't beat that.
Yep, so not too bad about that. And I knew going into that test, and like I was taking it, like I give you 2 hours to take the test. And I took my test, and like I got done in like 45 minutes or something. And there's 60 questions on this test. And it's anywhere
So like
from
a DMV type of question thing?
kinda, yeah. It's anywhere from like navigation to what kind of clouds are you looking at in this picture. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you have to remember. And I
Like,
got to know
like
that
this card looks like a dog versus an angel.
yeah, so something like that. And I got done in 45 minutes. I'm like, there's no way I passed this. Like, I got done way too fast, and I passed it with an 87. So my written's out of the way. So now the only thing holding me back from flying with passengers, my friends, is just doing some more studying to do what's called the oral exam and the flight test, which is basically like taking your driver's license and driving with.
Have you been procrastinating?
A lot of that.
You don't have any friends like me, so you're like,
I've got lots of friends to fly and study with. It's just the time thing, and making myself sit there and study for the oral exam, which is much different than the written. It's the same as the written, same questions, style questions, things like that, but you don't have different questions or different answers to choose from. It's more of a, like me and you sitting here, and you're asking me, what are the different airspaces? And instead of here having multiple choice, I have to tell you each airspace.
Vocalize it, huh?
I have to tell you everything, and it's a 2.5 hour oral exam of you sitting here asking me questions with no book to look at, no nothing. It's all upstairs.
So, do you think sometime in the future we'll get a "Will It Fly" video?
There is a guy that I give him props that his YouTube channel is blowing up. I don't know the name of it, but he did a "Will It Start on an Airplane," which was gold, and the guy did it right. He did like an hour-long video, and he has got like 8 million views on the airplane video, which is insane. And it's very cool.
So it's the same concept almost then.
Yeah, but he did it right. I would give him props.
I'm not find like some old World War II plane.
So it wasn't really an old World War II plane. It was like a 1970s or 80s Cessna twin engine. So it wasn't too old, but you don't really want to start up an old airplane like that and just try to take it to the skies, because there's a lot of rules and regulations in the aviation world. But yeah, he definitely did the video right, and it was very, very cool to see. And he's been sticking with it too. Like, he got it. I don't know if he's got it running yet, but he definitely got it pulled out, got it cleaned, and he's been taking all the right steps to legally get the airplane running and working again.
So is that a new is that a new source of media for you potentially in the future? Is something you would consider doing?
If I could get into the aircraft world, aviation world, yes, but there are so many rules and regulations. Like,
I gotcha.
You could seriously lose your pilot's license so fast.
Is there anything you can do? Like, you've seen some of these. I've seen pictures and clips of like these, especially out here in the desert Southwest, where they've got these boneyards, basically all these just like literally thousands of planes just sitting there. Is there anything you can do in that kind of environment? Because I've always wanted to go to something like there's a local company up in we're in Anaheim, south of Los Angeles, on the west side of Los Angeles in Santa Monica. What they do is they go to these boneyards and they harvest plane parts. Yeah. And they polish them and they turn them into furniture. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah,
something like that?
I've seen that.
That's some cool stuff, man.
There's a lot of aircraft junkyards out this area, or salvage yards, you call them junk, this way, because there's a lot less corrosion, a lot less humidity compared to the East Coast. Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff.
That's probably why they're all in the desert.
In the junkyard, usually, like once an airplane hits the junkyard, there are the salvage yard. They are done. Like there is no reviving them. They're gone.
They're
Forever.
just parts that basically
They're just parts, then that's it. Because most of your general aviation, your small aircraft, which hold 2 to 7 or 8 people, are old, very old airplanes. Like you don't walk out to an airport, a small airport. You say, well, this is my buddy's 2022, Cirrus or a Cessna airplane. No, it's gonna be like, here's my buddy's 1975 Cessna. We're gonna hop in it and fly a few thousand miles.
So who's got all the 22s? The real estate, the
aren't
brokers
there.
up in New York or something?
They're just really not there because they're so expensive. So like my airplane that I have right now is a 1964 172E, and you think, wow, a 1964. I can't even imagine driving a 1964 car down the road.
Mm-hmm.
But with aircraft, most of them are stored inside year round. They're very well taken care of. Every year there's a massive check where you go through. It's called an annual. You check them out and make sure they're not going to fall out of the sky. But just the new airplanes, so like my aircraft is worth around $60,000 right now.
Wow, no, a 64 is a $60,000.
Oh yes,
Unbelievable.
If you wanted to go buy a brand new Cessna 172 Skyhawk, which is what mine is, you're looking $750,000 for a brand new airplane.
God, wow.
So massive price difference right now.
I would imagine it drives differently.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
It's like driving a brand new car compared to my
Yeah.
airplane. Yeah, but there's just not any new airplanes out there. It's all
So
old
if
airplanes.
you know how to fly a 64 Cessna and you hit it big on YouTube and you made 400 million next week and you want to buy the 22, can you still fly it, or is that a whole nother set of instructions?
It's the same controls. 90% of your airplanes, even your jets, are all the same controls, whether it be your yoke or your ailerons on your feet.
Same
things
principles,
like, it's all
basically.
the same stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
The rudder
Cool.
at the feet. So it's all the same controls. The biggest difference is bigger airplane, the heavier airplane takes longer to get off the ground and takes longer to get to the ground.
Mm.
You may think, well, it's a big, heavy airplane. It's just going to fall out of the sky, or, it's going to land quick. Well, it doesn't. It takes a while to get back down to the ground.
Copy that. Yeah. All right. Cool. So, Bruce, we want to talk about your adventures in Southern California. You were gracious enough to accept our invitation to come out and come see the plant and see what we do and how we do it. Give us a little feedback on some good old-fashioned SoCal American manufacturing. What did you see out there?
It definitely is like a flashback to like the 70s and 80s of manufacturing, I think. And I had made a video I posted, and I think that I had a lot of people say that you guys are like stuck in the times, but there is no newer manufacturing of buffing wheels and polishing products. I mean, they don't just make these machines that you guys have. You can't just call them and say, hey, I need a 2022 model of a buffing wheel machine.
Right. Yeah.
They don't just have that. So why replace products that work?
Right. Yeah. And I think that's a very good point. Unlike, for example, you can go out and buy new metal fabrication machinery, for example, punch presses and press brakes and so forth.
It's a great example, actually.
But you really can't do that with, like, I think I mentioned to you earlier on in the week that back when I first got into the industrial buffing and polishing and industrial sanding world, just in the Los Angeles basin alone back in 1989, there were, I think, 6 or 7 manufacturers of compounds on buffing wheels just in SoCal alone. Now there's probably maybe 4 or 5 in the whole country.
Exactly.
So it's not like people, wake up to it. I'm going to graduate from high school and go get a degree on how to make buffing wheels or how to make buffing compounds or something like that. Yeah, there's some chemistry and engineering involved, no doubt. But, everybody's out doing newer technologies, and tastes have changed and finishes have changed. And although our market still is there in spite of all the stuff that has gone offshore, it's not really a growing pie or not growing very quickly. In fact, it may still be shrinking. But that's why the old timers like us doing it the old fashioned way. And many of these mixers out there are like 50 years old. Those Iris machines for the buffing wheel manufacturing, they're probably a good 25, 30 years old. I
At
mean,
least, yeah.
yeah, you can buy a new one, find a new one, but it's not like it's just all custom stuff now. And, it's not like, again, it's not like buying, I mean, we have the filling machines for the bottles.
That's a given, though. I mean, you can't sit there and fill a bottle up one at a time.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, but that's all kind of like I would call it customized machinery, but not custom machinery. We specify kind of like how many pistons we want and the speed and all that kind of fun stuff. But by and large, it's not like we're doing anything that exotic compared to many other companies that fill, whether it's shampoo on one end or Gatorade on the other. It's the same idea, basically. It's just the machinery is just a little more specialized for us.
But when it comes down to the buffing wheels,
that's a whole different world.
That's like that machine is only made to do those. It's not like it's going to be made to make anything else like your bottle filling.
Like, God forbid, the last buff making company in the United States, when they close down, those machines are going to scrap.
And they'll be there.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, wow, I found a used buffing machine, because like if I find one now, I'll just buy it right away, to be honest with you.
Yep.
But it's like you just can't find them. And they end up even like the big guys on the block, which is, the largest manufacturer of buffing wheels in the world is called Jackson Lee, aka Osborne Manufacturing. But they've had their challenges recently, as many people have, but it's like they've grown over the years by the acquisition of other buffing wheel manufacturers, and so that
just like you have,
but they've done it on a lot. I mean, they have consolidated so many buffing wheel and buffing compound manufacturers over the last maybe 2 decades. That's why there's only 4 or 5 of us left at this point. But all that machinery that they've acquired, regrettably, is probably not as sophisticated or efficient. Our machines are okay, but like if you go to maybe Jackson Lee, they probably have a more sophisticated version of it. So like if they bought us out, for example, they would just take our machines and scrap them. Because they don't want them going to somebody else.
They're just buying the competition out.
Basically buying the competition, buying the book of business, essentially. And then all the infrastructure of how to make it, all the know-how, all that brain power, it's just gone. Unfortunately. So like if my people stopped making buffalo wheels today and they went to do something else for 5 or 6 or 7 years, it's like, that's just that technology is gone. That know-how is gone forever. So you're right. It does look like something out of the past a little bit. But that's just kind of how some of American manufacturing is. There's some very high-end automated type stuff, but small business is just small business, man.
Without small businesses, where would we be?
That's where it's at. So Bruce is in town to check out the plant and talk a little bit. We're hoping to do expand the relationship and the friendship, and do hopefully this will be not the last time you see Bruce here in this podcast chair.
For sure.
Is there anything else you want to cover while you want to talk about Dynaflex or anything like that? Or you want to give a shout out to Big Strappers or anybody you want to shout out to?
Yeah, I mean, Big Strappers definitely set me up with some cool shirts and apparel. We plan on.
All right, Brian.
Yep. Doing some truck shows and hanging out with Brian at the booths. I think you and I are going to go visit Dynaflex this afternoon.
Yep.
Corey over at Dynaflex definitely uses some of Maverick abrasives in their polishing. Their making of their stacks. So it'd be cool to see the crossover of your products that you make here being used in real life at not an end user, but an actual manufacturing facility.
All right, cool. And make sure you follow Bruce for some more fun stuff. Bruce, give us your handles, please.
Yeah, just my YouTube's Bruce Wilson. Pretty straightforward there. Instagram's Bruce_D_Wilson. And
are you a TikToker?
Yeah, a little bit. I don't even know my TikTok username.
You just dabble in it.
I'm sure if you look up Bruce Wilson on there, it'll pop up pretty quick.